beautiful Sunday evening in Calgary. It's near the end of July right now, so obviously it's nice out. Love walking this guy through this field. Right on the other side of the neighborhood that Steph and I live in. We live in northwest Calgary in a community called Evanston. You know, actually we've been here for a couple weeks now and we're really liking it. What I like the most about the Northwest is that you're really only from our neighborhood anyways, 25 minutes away from downtown Calgary. So, you know, where the Calgary Flames play and where they have the Calgary Stampede. And then you're 20 minutes from a major airport, which is great if you have, you know, family coming out a lot from out of town, or you travel a lot for business or with your family. I really like Evanston. It's really close. Like, if you can hear the cars just right over there, that's Stony Trail, which is the ring road that goes around the perimeter of Calgary. And so Evanston is right off of Stony Trail, just to the north of it. And it's a newer community, I'd say within the last 10 years or so. Good mix. You know, I grew up in Scarborough in Toronto, and one thing I really loved about it was just how multicultural it was. Different food, you know, different walks of life, different people. And Evanston's somewhat like that. There's a good mix of a community in Evanston, and yeah, the food is really good too. There's a lot of diverse food in the neighborhood as well. And so, you know, my wife and I, we've definitely appreciated that. Another thing that I like about the Northwest and where we're currently living right now is you're only really maybe an hour and 20-minute drive to Banff. And then before that, you got Cochrane, which is a nice little town kind of in the foothills of Alberta. And then you got, you know, Kananaskis country, Bragg Creek, and things like that out that way. That's really only like a 45-minute drive. There's tons of beautiful trails out that way. Zeus, come here. Come on, let's go this way. He's getting away from me. Come on, Zeus, let's go. Come on. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really nice nature within striking distance, like within an hour pretty much. And so I like the Northwest. It also, if you can see this from the camera, there's a lot of hills in the Northwest too. I know some people here in Calgary will say that maybe the Northwest gets the most unpredictable, craziest weather. Probably partially due to just the altitude. We're a little bit higher up than the rest of Calgary here in the Northwest. But yeah, my wife and I really like living in the Northwest. We think it really suits our lifestyle. And so I think we might stay in the Northwest for a little while and raise our little family. We got a daughter on the way and probably coming within a month, which is crazy to think about. And yeah, I can see us growing a little family in the house that we have, and which is a great thing. I know that space is definitely a very expensive asset to have right now in Canada, just the way things are going. So to have space to be able to raise a family and give them their own bedrooms and a fenced backyard and a neighborhood street to play on. I mean, those are some things that I really cherished growing up as a kid, and feels good to be able to do that here in Calgary. So Evanston and the Northwest is also just absolutely riddled in beautiful settings like this. So this is just a pond that I'm walking through in Evanston at the moment. But Evanston has, you know, probably 5 or 6 different parks just in this general area. And also in Ontario, we call it a hydro field. But you can see on the other side of this fence here, there's this huge, where I was walking earlier on, there's this huge pathway that runs along the hydro fields there, adjacent to Stony Trail Highway. And that trail goes for miles and miles and miles. So there's no shortage of nature and parks and just beautiful ponds like this in the Northwest. And also in the Northwest is Nose Hill Park. Nose Hill Park is a massive, massive park. I think it's probably the biggest park in Calgary. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's a really big park. And where we live, we're like a 15-minute drive away from that park. So yeah, lots of nature, lots of ponds, and lots of places to walk your dogs, go for a walk with your kids. Beautiful. So I just wanted to add a little bit more about the neighborhood that we live in Evanston in the Northwest. So another thing that I really appreciate about and like about it is that, okay, so remember how I was saying earlier on in this video that there's a ring road that goes around Calgary called Stony Trail. And so Evanston is in the Northwest, and Evanston is north, just the community just north of that ring road. So what I find is when you're living in, say, you know, Evanston or Carrington or Sage Hill, places like that, because you're north of the ring road, there's not as much through traffic that comes through. So I tend to see like a lot less traffic out this way, and just yeah, less people in, you know, parking lots and things like that. So you can find parking way easier. There's way less traffic on the roads. Yeah, so that's just an observation I had about specifically Evanston and just living in this pocket. Oh, you can see my my fire pit right there. I think there might even be a fire ban right now in Ontario, but there's not one here, so I can actually use that. Yeah, so Evanston, this pocket of Northwest, parking spots are easier to find, and there's less traffic in this part of Calgary. And so another cool part about living in this pocket of the Northwest and our neighborhood, Evanston specifically, is that you're really only like 15 minutes away from Crossiron Mills, which is like a huge, I mean, it's pretty massive. It's not as big as West Edmonton Mall, but it's a huge outlet mall. And so they got a ton of nice stores out there. Also a little closer in Evanston is, there's a whole bunch of different grocery stores. I think there's like 4 Dollarama's in this neighborhood, and well, in this area of Northwest. And so there's tons of shopping options around here too, which is absolutely great, because if you value time and you got a lot of kids or a lot of dogs like this guy right here, Zeus, then it comes in handy to have a lot of options around stores. So like Tim Hortons, there's like a Freshco, No Frills, bunch of different grocery stores, and new too. So like you walk in there and it's a newer building and everything looks nice, and so there's a lot of options and everything's in really good shape. So we definitely really like that about our area that we live in. So that was my little spiel about Evanston, the neighborhood that we live in. Steph and I are going to continue to make videos like this of different neighborhoods in and around Calgary. We're also going to do property tours as well. So if there's any like areas that you want us to feature, or if there's any particular like show home that you know of that you want us to do a tour on, leave it down below in the comments, or send us an email and we'll make that for you.